Today, I'd like to show you how we build a freestanding tension fabric frame. It's 1 meter wide by 2 meters high. So let's start with the basic components at the bottom. We've got 2 feet, one here, one here. The feet are 100 by 500 millimeters. They're 8mm steel plate. They're quite heavy. In the center of the foot, you've got an M6 tapped hole. The other foot here. Now here's the bottom section, and this is the profile that we're using to build the frame, and this is the profile that we use for the bottom, the verticals and the top. It's a 50mm double-sided profile. You can see that we have a fabric track here, and we have a fabric track here, so we can have a graphic front and rear. This channel here, we call this a C profile. You can see that looks like a letter C, albeit reversed. And this is a C profile. These are the channels that we put our joints into. So, this is the bottom section. You know it's the bottom section when you order a frame because it's pre-drilled. And the foot bolt is an M6 foot bolt. We pass the foot bolt through the frame, and I have to line it up with the hole in the foot. And then just very carefully, I just do the thread up with my fingers, and then I do the same on this side. I just make sure that thread catches, and then I take an M5 Allen key and I tighten up the foot bolt. And before I tighten it up, I make sure that the foot is at right angles to the frame. Okay, so a little bit of pressure on that bolt. And the same here. Tighten this up. I can see the foot isn't quite at right angles. And finally, turn the Allen key around and tighten that up. So I've connected the bottom section with the feet. That's always what we do first when we build a freestanding frame. Next, I need to take my corner joint. Now, there are 4 corner joints for a frame like this. So the corner joint is made up of 2 components. They are L-shaped plates. One has got 4 grub screws in it. And you've got a plain plate which goes behind the plate with grub screws. So there is a joint assembled. Take the joint, and we're going to put it into the C profile that you remember I spoke about before. So here's my C profile. I'm sliding it in. I'll repeat for the other side, and I'm going into the same C profile. It doesn't matter if you went into the front or the back profile, but go into the same one when you're building a frame of this size, yeah? I have my 2 meter vertical side, and I'm going to connect this now to the joint. So, take the vertical side, hold the joint together, and just carefully drop it over the joint. Watch your fingers at this point. This aluminium is heavy. If you slid it down accidentally, you'd smack your finger. So drop it down, yeah, and just wiggle the joint slightly and the aluminium. And get the mitre, this is the mitre, and take a 3mm Allen key, yeah, and just nip it on one of the grub screws and just check that it's okay. That looks good to me. And do the next scrub screw. And do the next scrub screw. Doing these tight. That's how we put one side on. I'm going to repeat for the next side off camera, and then we'll pick up on the video again. So for video purposes, we built the frame on top of this counter. Normally you would build a frame on the floor. I've taken the frame off the counter, put it on the floor. I've finally taken my top section of aluminium. We know it's the top section, it's 1 meter wide, the frame is 1 meter wide, and there's no holes in it for feet bolts. And I've taken my last 2 joints and I've put them in to the profile. I take the profile like this, I walk around behind the frame, and I slot one side in just a little way, and then I slot the other side in. I drop it down. There's my frame together, but loose. I take my 3mm Allen key, and you just have to manually line up the miter joint and tighten up a grub screw nearest to the miter joint, which is this one. Here's the miter joint here. There's a grub screw, and then the one on the opposite side, that's got that held. Come over here. I'll do the same for this one. I'll hold the joint together with my fingers. Yeah. I'll tighten up a grub screw there. I'll tighten up the next grub screw. I will tighten up the remaining grub screws. Our frame is together, nice and strong, very stable, and it's time to fit the graphic. So we're ready to fit our fabric graphic. Here's our fabric graphic. Now this is printed onto a blockout fabric. You'll notice that the fabric has got a black backing. We use this, it's really popular fabric, really good. It stops anything showing through from behind the frame. So if you've got a situation where you know there's going to be something showing through, we use this fabric. So I take my graphic, I let it unfold. I'm careful not to let the fabric touch the floor. And I take the top right-hand corner. I'm right-handed, so I always start top right. And what I do is I fold the graphic away from me, and I put the edge of the graphic into the fabric channel on the frame. Now, I'm still holding the graphic with this hand. I move across to the left-hand side. I fold the fabric away from me, and I push it in. Let me just tell you something. Sometimes people put the graphics in the wrong way. Sometimes the customers have done this. They push it in like that. No, it needs to fold away from you and push into the frame. So, I fitted the top two corners. I will now drop down to the floor, and I will fit the bottom corners. We always fit the four corners first of all, and there's a reason for this, and the reason is that we actually cut these graphics undersized to a precise formula. So, by fitting the four corners, you make sure that the fabric is stretching out to the correct size. Having fitted the four corners, we fit the middles of the graphic. Top, bottom, left, right, and then finally the quarter positions, if you like. We've got the graphic in. It's not quite finished. It's nice and balanced. There's no wrinkles. We push the rest of the fabric in now. Best to press the fabric in and not run your thumb or your finger along. If you run your finger along the edge of the graphic, if you had any dirt on your hands, you'd rub it into the fabric. So it's best just to press it in, like I'm doing here with my thumb. Yeah. Nearly there. And there you have a beautiful, just a little bit more, nearly beautiful, now beautiful, 1 meter wide by 2 meter high, freestanding tension fabric display, very stable, yeah, won't fall off, very good in high traffic areas. You can't see through the fabric. If I move behind, you can't see me. A great solution for retail, for exhibitions or for events or for general information. Thank you very much.